Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the last feature under this saga, how to create a native cross-platform application from scratch using the native languages for each platform without any shortcuts. Last feature, which is settings feature. Add new project. You can make it as a WPF user control library. Let's name it application settings or settings feature. We won't have any screens or any components in this particular feature. As a dependency, we need actually only one dependency, which is core module. Project reference and select core. I'm going to have only data and domain, and the repository creates a new interface. Let's call it application settings repository. We're going to have two methods. The first one to stream the real-time changes of the application settings, and the other one to save the application settings. And for the use cases, nothing substantial. As we have done many times, it is pretty straightforward. Let's implement the repository. The implementation will need only one dependency, which is the database. All right, for the first function, get application settings, going to stream the application settings. This will return, basically, it's going to be very simple actually. It's going to be context and stream application settings, as simple as this. To save the application settings, let's wrap everything within try catch. Let's get the first occurrence of the application settings entity. Let's store it under app settings entity. It's going to be nullable by doing context and application settings entities first or default. As I've said in the beginning of the tutorial, we're going to have only one instance under the database for the application settings. If it exists, we're going to set its dark mode to settings and its dark mode from the parameter and current settings latest route. And again, we don't have to do this, but to enhance user experience, let's navigate directly to the latest visited route once we close and open the application. Next, we're going to update the existing application settings entities current entity. Otherwise, we're going to create a new one by doing context, and we have to add new application settings entity. Settings is dark mode. Latest visited route is latest visited route. Afterward, we have to save the changes asynchronously by doing save changes async. After saving the changes, emit app settings update. I don't think that we're going to do here anything. Let's not do this. If we have an error, we're going to throw directly the exception. As simple as this, that's the implementation of the application settings repository implementation. Now, let's define the module for the iModule. Let's provide first of all the use cases, and now have to register the implementation and the use cases. And that's pretty much it for the settings feature. We have to make integration tests for the implementation. Let's come back to the feature tests. Let's add this module. I'm going to proceed with the same manner to provide the application settings use cases to test. For the first test case, we need to make sure that the use case get application settings should stream the application settings. Let's seed some data to the database, specifically the application settings. I don't think that we have done it. Under mock data, let's create the dedicated to seed the application settings. All right, let's come back to the test, seed application settings. Let's arrange where to store the observed results and the correct settings from the mock data saved app settings. Now let's store the subscription equal use cases, get application settings and subscribe. Let's call this settings. And at the end, we have to dispose the subscription. Now we have to add results. There is a shortcut actually for this. We can do results and add directly. Let's check the first emission. Let's store it under settings. Now for the assertion, we need to make sure that the settings should not be null. And the settings has to be equivalent to the correct settings. That's pretty much it. Let's run the test. All right, good. Now for the last test, we need to make sure that the use case save application settings should save the application settings. Let's arrange where to store exactly the observed results. Let's create the correct settings. For example, in dark mode, let's set it to true and latest route home screen. Now let's try to save the application settings. We have to call the use case, save application settings, invoke. We have to pass as an argument the correct application settings. If you have an exception, we have to fail basically the test. Let's use the subscription that we have done earlier. I'm going to add a small delay, let's say 2 seconds before making the assertion. And let's get the first emission of the settings, and we have to dispose the subscription afterward. Now we have to get the first emission as we have done earlier. Let's check if the application settings is not null, and the settings from the database should be equivalent to the correct settings that we have created earlier. All right, let's run the test. All right, test passed. Now let's check for interference. Very nice. We don't have to do any screens or any components for this feature, as we have done in the other applications. For the next video, we're going to implement the main section of our application. Basically, the main module, Pocket Goods. Gonna glue everything together. We're gonna set exactly what we have done under Vue 3, iOS, and Kotlin by implementing the routing and all the good stuff. I hope you have learned something new. See you in the next one, and happy coding!